Hi there, and welcome to this week's Gersnet Weekly Podcast. Hi there, and welcome to this week's weekly Gersnet podcast. It's the first time we've been back in a couple of weeks. Obviously, there was an international break there, but we missed the Motherwell game. We had some technical hitches that we'll not go into, but we're back. We're back tonight. We're going to have a wee look at the Livingston game at the weekend. A good weekend for Rangers, good result for Rangers, and other results went in their favour also. We'll have a wee look at the big night of European action at Ibrox on Thursday against Villarreal. We'll have a sneak preview of that, and we'll also do a wee roundup. You know, there's been one or two things happening since we've been away, so we'll cover that as well. Joining me tonight, I've got the two Davids. I've got David Fraser. How you doing, David?
Good evening, Colin. Not too bad, thanks. Yourself?
Not bad. Missed you on Saturday.
I know. That's my fault. My phone was out of commission, so I couldn't phone anybody on the fly, so therefore I missed you guys, but hopefully we'll meet up the next time.
To bring the listeners up to speed, some of the Gersnet guys met up for some daytime drinking on Saturday there before the game, and David was there, but we managed to miss one another. Someone who wasn't there though, because he was over in Germany, is David Thomason, or Pete. How you doing, Pete?
Yeah, doing fine, thanks. Sitting here in front of the log fire to keep warm, so we've not got 38 degrees outside anymore.
Well, see, comes to the best of us. So when are you coming over for some daytime drinking?
Well, I'll be over at Christmas, so the 23rd I'll be hitting the runway at Glasgow Airport.
Right, so that's a time for me and David Fraser and all the rest of us to go the other direction. Jump the flight to Germany, yeah.
To dodge me in a pub.
Christmas markets at you were pretty good here, so we'll go about the 23rd. I think that'll be a good time to do it.
Oh, I think you'll have missed them all by then. They're all round about the 7th, 8th of December.
Yeah.
The Germans are crazy that way. They've got all their Christmas stuff out already.
Well, to be fair, Pete, I wasn't being entirely serious. I'm not going to Germany, so it doesn't really matter. Right, we'll get on to it. We'll go on to the Livingston game. Obviously, a very good performance. Well, not a good performance, a good result by Rangers. Kind of iffy performance. Got the early goal with Candeas, corner kick, a good corner kick from young Glenn Middleton. Got 1-0, but then after that, it went a wee bit flat at times, and then it kind of took Morelos to come on to sort of, liven us up again and secure the win sort of late on. But, with other results going the way they were, obviously Hearts, they were on the end of a defeat. Aberdeen were beat also. We're starting to cement ourselves in that sort of second spot, and obviously we can go top next week. Celtic are on League Cup duty. If we win at Tynecastle, we'll go top. So overall, a very positive weekend for Rangers. David, I'll come to you first. What was your thoughts on the overall performance on Saturday?
I thought the performance was pretty flat, Colin. I'd like to think that the lads were saving themselves for Thursday, but obviously, as you've pointed out there, the overwhelming positive to be taken from the weekend's work was another 3 points, another clean sheet, which was quite handy as well. And obviously, as you said, their results went our way, and we've got an opportunity to go top next weekend because Celtic are playing in the League Cup final against Aberdeen. So I thought some players played okay, some less so. But I think without going down to the same old route again, I thought we were quite lacking in chance creation yet again. I think it's well known. It's a well-stated case, that we're maybe lacking a wee bit of creativity in certain areas of the pitch. But credit to the lads, they stuck at it, and when Alfie came on, he obviously relieved the pressure by sticking away that second goal. So, credit where credit's due. They brought the 3 points home, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think, I think championships are kind of won on performances like that. You don't play particularly well, you just get through it. Obviously, you can't play well every week, but I do agree with you in terms of the creativity stuff. I think we've found it tough against teams that sit in, and we need to try and break them down. I think the first goal always helps, but it's always good to get that second goal, and then that's it. You're sort of cementing the win at that point. But it was a hard watch at times on Saturday, I must admit. But 3 points, and it really does set us up quite good for Sunday against Hearts. Get the 3 points there. We're in a really strong position. Pete, coming to you, Stevie G sort of changed things on Saturday with the starting lineup. He rested Morelos. He started Lafferty up front. He gave Gareth McCauley his first start. What did you make of the team selection for Stevie G?
Well, I thought McCauley was probably one of the contenders for man of the match. The way he just he ruled everything, and he was also helping Connor Goldson. So I really thought he had a great game. A lot of people were saying Ryan Jack didn't have a good game, but I really thought Ryan Jack had a really good game. In fact, it was another one that could be down for man of the match for me.
Well, I think he got the man of the match on the day at the game. When they announced it.
Yeah, the sponsors man of the match. He won that. Yeah, but one thing I think we started the first couple of minutes okay, but then they get such a big chance. And I was looking at it today. I even posted a picture of it on the site. The ball get cleared out, and a guy had a shot at goal, and there was 3 Livingston players right in front of the goal. There wasn't a Rangers player near them, and Andy Halliday, he was stuck in his 6-yard line, playing everybody onside. And the guy turned round and hit it just past the post. Thank goodness it was a centre half. If it was a forward, it would have been in the net.
I actually think it hit the post, Pete. I think it grazed the post.
The post as it went by.
It was McGregor's right-hand post, yeah.
Yeah.
Hit the post, yeah.
But that was really shocking defending, and I think that's something that, because that's not the first time that something like that's happened. I think we really need to look at that. Then I think Rangers came into it. For the rest of the half. I think we sort of dominated it for the rest of the half. But in the second half, Livingston, they pushed their wing backs further up the park. That was Gallagher, is it, I think you call him. He was pushed further up the park, and then they sort of started dominating us. And then it wasn't until Morelos came on that we started to take the full initiative, and with that, he changed the game. So, and obviously for the team, I would have Morelos in every game, whether we're making changes or not making changes. I think Morelos should be the first name on the list. But the other one was Gersnet. I was a bit surprised he wasn't in the team. Especially, I think Candias might be in for Thursday, so I was really expecting Gersnet to be playing for that one. But all in all, it's a win, and although it was a wee bit of a struggle at times, especially as I said in the second half. But we'll see what team he pulls out on Thursday.
I mean, as much as Livingston had a wee bit more possession in the second half for sort of 15-20 minutes, I can't really recall a big save that McGregor had to make, so I just think sometimes when it's 1-0 and Rangers aren't performing as well as you want them to perform, you sometimes feel a wee bit more under pressure than is actually the case. I just think they were starting to gain a wee bit of momentum, and that's when the crowd starts getting nervy. But I can't recall McGregor really having a big save to make. So I don't know if it was as uncomfortable as we all thought. I think it just felt that way because we hadn't got the second goal. David, Pete mentioned there McCauley, it was his first start at Ibrox. I thought he played very well. What about yourself? How do you think he settled into the game?
He showed all his experience, Colin, as you'd expect. A decent player, Gareth. I'm probably going to upset the apple cart here slightly and say I hope I'm wrong in what I'm about to say here, but I think up against somebody fast up front, I think we could be in trouble where he's concerned. I only hope that he might be, obviously because he's aged with the kind of senior partner in the back two and have a faster guy around about him to cover him, whether that be Goldson, which is looking to be the case long term possibly, or Catches, because Joe Worrell, he's not exactly fast. But I played well. he's got, as I say, he's got that experience. He's kind of marshalling the team. When he came on against Motherwell there a couple of Sundays back, he told guys to go forward when he didn't need guys to hang back because they were only marking one man up front. So yeah, his experience will be invaluable. I'm a wee bit undecided about how effective all our centre halves are when it comes to winning the ball in the air. I'd like to see more dominance. I think that when you average out between the four of them, I think they're maybe at best only winning maybe 53% of balls in the air. I'd like to see those figures going northwards a wee bit more towards 60%. Then I'd feel a wee bit more assured. You seen there on Saturday, there was a few balls come into the box where we should be getting on the end of some of these crosses, and our centre halves or defenders for that matter didn't. And I think long term that may well come back to bite us, but hopefully I'm wrong on that one. And the players, they can, every player, and I'll leave Gareth out of this because he's just coming into the team, but every player can be excused a dip in form during the season. So hopefully they all collectively hit form at the one time and we can go on a run of games, especially over this busy pre-Christmas schedule before the winter break, and start racking up some points and some good results.
Yeah, I would probably agree with some of what you're saying there. I thought we looked quite assured at the back, early doors, especially in Europe. We took some heavy fire in Europe, and we coped with it well. But I agree, recently we have looked a wee bit more fragile. I think one who's looked, I know he's getting played out of position at left back, but one thing Flanagan always was solid in the tackle, and he won his fair share of headers. I can't really say he's doing that now. And the centre defensive thing, I'm just about to cover the now repeat. There does seem to be an issue there because it was Goldson and Katic to start with, and the two of them looked solid. Then Worrell came in, and there just seems to be a lot of to and fro in that position now, where we seem to have a settled two at the start of the season. So Pete, coming to you on that, do you think? Do you wonder if Gerrard's maybe tinkering about with his back four too much at times?
Well, at the start, I was a big Katic fan, so I really was pretty surprised when Katic gets sort of a drop to the bench, and then Worrell came in. No, I'm not a great fan of Worrell's, to be honest with you. I posted on the Gersnet of the week. He's one of these players. I believe he's 6'4" or something like that, but he jumps about 5'10". He seems to have a way to sort of ring in his neck and ends up like Forrester of Celtic with no neck. So he just doesn't seem to be able to head the ball very good. And that's where Macaulay, I thought he was really dominant at the weekend. And I don't know what's wrong with Katic. Katic isn't the same player we bought. He's just sort of lost form or confidence or whatever he's done.
Yeah, I would agree. Katic has. I've heard some fans sort of raise the criticism that he was fine until Gerrard dropped him, because I was a wee bit surprised when Worrell came in. I think he came in at the Villarreal game, the first Europa League game. I think everybody was a wee bit surprised that he'd sort of made, his debut that night, because Katic had been quite solid up until that point. And now the off-season all over the place. I mean, that defensive performance in Moscow a couple of weeks back was comical at times. Every one of them was guilty of something outrageous on the night. So I don't know. I just always feel, especially your centre half pairing, I always feel a team should have a spine, should have a solid goalkeeper, two centre halves, a solid centre midfielder that's going to dominate that part of the park, and a centre forward that's going to get you 20-25 goals a season. I just think if you're thinking about your two centre halves in particular, it can pose you problems.
Well, the way Macaulay played at the weekend, I wouldn't have any hesitation to play him on Thursday night, because he even looked quite good over the ground. He certainly doesn't look slow to me, and I would definitely have him. Although I know the Villarreal, although we'll go on to them later, and I know their forwards are all pretty small and quick forwards. They're not sort of a big the ones that they'll be punting balls up to.
I think Davy Weir showed in his time at Rangers that, if you're good positionally, then I'm not saying you won't always avoid, being one-on-one with a quick striker. I can't really recall a time when Davy Weir was done for pace. The way they played, I think Rangers sat a wee bit deeper. They obviously had Beguera next to him who could cover him at times. And Davy Weir positionally, and he just knew where to be. He could read the game, and I got a wee bit of that from Macaulay on Saturday. He just knew where to be and could read the game. So I think it could be a problem for, the lack of pace in his age and stuff like that, but I don't think it's too much to be worried at the moment. David, coming back to you, I know I've spoke about him before, but obviously Morelos had a big impact when he came on Saturday there. Given how sort of flat we looked up until he came on, is it now the case that we're maybe just a wee bit too reliant on him at times?
I would say so. You saw on Saturday, I mean, Kyle Lafferty, he tried manfully. Stevie Gerrard gave him some credit for running the Livingston centre halves. I don't know so much about Ragged, but he said he gave him a game and tired them out. So for when Alfredo came on, it was he could use his pace and power to good effect when he came on the pitch. I would say we are over reliant on him. You saw in the League Cup semi against Aberdeen how much we missed him, and as I say there on Saturday, he comes on. Literally within seconds of him coming on, he took the ball in, he was back to goal, turned, played a ball out wide and started a move. And not to say that Kyle Lafferty wasn't trying that during the game, but it seemed as if there was more impetus in the team. There was more of a focal point that the players, certainly James Tavernier, seemed to be more comfortable with, and you saw that with Alfie's goal, where James fed him and Alfie just takes the ball and powers along the 18-yard line and steers a left foot shot into the net and takes all the pressure off us. Because you were sat there, you mentioned there that it maybe wasn't as fraught with danger as it might have appeared, at first viewing. But certainly when you're sitting on the ground, you're thinking they could got the park here and possibly nick one, and then we've shipped another couple of points. But thankfully it didn't happen, and Alfie played a big part in that. So going forward, I'd like to think that Stevie's got hopefully a card up his sleeve, because as we've talked about at length in previous pods, I don't see Umar Sadiq being here in the second half of the season. So we're going to need to get a striker in that's going to be able to come in and take some of the pressure off Alfie especially, and Kyle Lafferty as well.
Pete, Morelos was booked again on Saturday. What was your views? Was it an act of tactical genius in terms, because he misses the Dundee game now? Was it another sign that the standard of the referee in this country is a bit of a joke, or was it a bit of both?
Well, I don't think he done it intentionally, to be honest. As somebody that lives abroad, I know how difficult it is to try and communicate with people when you can't speak the language. And one of the things to do is to go into a shell and run away instead of turning around and trying to talk. And I think that's a big problem on his that's wrong with Morelos. And I don't think the referees are understanding that. Obviously, the referees have never ever lived abroad, and I certainly know I had a lot of trouble with it in the beginning. Are the referees terrible in Scotland? Well, I think that's proven itself. As far as I know, I've heard that, and I couldn't see it myself, but Morelos threw his hand in the air twice on the way to the referee and the way away from the referee. But if we're going to get booked for blowing kisses, throwing your arm up in the air, how many players are going to get booked every year? And why is it just Rangers that are getting booked for these things? I mean, there's plenty of players throw their arm up in the air and do other different signs that are not getting booked. Another thing was with Walsh, Nick Walsh. There was he booked Ryan Jack because he's foot high and nearly kicked somebody, which I believe was round about his chest. And then about 5 minutes later, the Livingston player.
Yeah, there was an identical incident and he never booked him. Yeah,
and that's it just shows you that Rangers are sort of not getting treated the same way as other teams are getting treated.
I mean, on the Morelos one, I couldn't believe he got pulled over in the first place. But part of me does wonder, you know, I think any coaching staff worth their salt would be saying, you know, if you get booked today, it's the Dundee game you're missing. That's the game we wouldn't mind you missing. Because he threw his hands up in the first instance, and the referee sort of let him go with it, and then he done it again. And I just kind of thought, I don't know, it just kind of crossed my mind that maybe he was pushing for it just to, that's it gets him out of the road. You know, we've got a lot of big games. We've got Hibs twice, home and away. We've got Aberdeen at home. We've got St Johnstone away. We've also got Celtic at home. We've got Hearts next week. Out of all the games in December, you know, probably Dundee or Hamilton at home, I think it is, they would be the two games you wouldn't mind missing them. So part of me did think, you know, maybe he's just saw an opportunity and took it.
Can I come in there again, Colin? Just one statistic that I've picked up the last few days, that Celtic's foul per game ratio is 11.36 per yellow card for every fouls for every yellow card. And Rangers are sitting on 6, almost a half. Surely that can't be just that Celtic have less fouls, or surely there must be something in that Rangers are getting penalised with yellow card for fouls that other teams aren't.
Well, I think the two of the individual mentioned, Ryan Jack and Morelos, have a reputation. Why they have a reputation is another thing. You know, you look at James McFadden commenting on Morelos today. I mean, his comments were outrageous. You know, in Sports Scene last night, they never focused on the fact that Morelos got pulled over when he hadn't done anything wrong. They focused on the fact that he was frustrated at that and he got booked. So, you know, he's got a reputation, but why has he got a reputation? That's the question that people need to ask. And there's wee things happening that, you know, your Michael Stewarts and various other pundits out there are deliberately missing. You know, and it's the same with Ryan Jack. You know, there's stuff going on with him that people don't take issue with, but when it's him and it's when Morelos, they always mention it. So yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with what you're saying, but it's why that's the case. I think that we need to ask the question.
Do you not think that these referees, well, some of them beaten, the one Nick Walsh yesterday, they've been fast tracked into the top grade. They've missed a whole lot of the sort of a build up to the top grade. Maybe there's something in that they're just not ready yet for this level.
Or maybe they're all Celtic supporters. Who knows?
Guys, all you need to do is look at the fouls per yellow card stats in Europe when you compare Celtic and Rangers. Celtic are more or less refereed to a similar standard to Rangers. The stats bear that out. Yet in Scotland, Celtic seem to get favourable treatment from referees. And Rangers are they're up in the kind of top 5 or 6 sides in the league when it comes to the disciplinary count. So there's definitely evidence to suggest that Rangers are refereed to a different standard to certain other teams in the league. Incidentally, with regards to Ryan Jack, I thought it was Scott Arfield to get booked for the high boot, but yeah, you mean you're mentioning there about Nick Walsh and his inconsistencies. I mean, it's not the first time he's refereed to a shocking standard at Ibrox, and Saturday's game was just another instance of how poor, in general terms, he is as a referee.
Right, moving on away from Saturday and on to this Thursday's game at Ibrox, another big European night under the lights. Great to have these nights back at Ibrox, I must admit. I'm really looking forward to Thursday. Villarreal, Spanish opposition. As I said, it's made my season actually having these sort of nights back at Ibrox. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Pete, I'll come to you first. How do you feel about our chances on Thursday?
Well, look! I watched Villarreal first half last night, and they didn't look very good, to be honest. I believe they're okay going forward, but their defence looks in a shambles every time the ball comes near it. And I sort of noticed that behind the backs, there seemed to be very easily to turn the backs. So I think of the likes of Candeias, Middleton, I would play Middleton. they're really good at. They're really not very good in behind the backs. They leave a lot of space there. So if you look at the first leg, the way we played there, and the way we've played all the games really up to now at home, then I don't see any reason that we can't beat them.
Yeah, I would agree, but I also think there's got to be a sense of realism as well. I mean, our record against Spanish teams is not the best. Looking at some of the stats yesterday when I was going through it all, everything points to this game being a draw. So, but hopefully I'm wrong. I think if we put in a similar performance that we put in against Rapid Vienna, I think we might just sneak it. David, Villarreal are also currently on a decent unbeaten run away from home in the Europa League. They've went 10 games that have been beat away from home. We've won 3 of those, drawn 7. Their last defeat was actually against Rapid Vienna in 2016. Is this going to be a night of a wee bit, like I said, the Rapid Vienna game, being patient and just, ensuring we take our chances when they come along? Or should we just go flat out for the win? Should we just say, right, they're here, let's go for it?
Well, we've obviously got the benefit of having played them already this season, so we're not going into it as, with our eyes completely closed, so to speak, from a playing perspective. So, me, Colin, you've asked me a question like that before with regards to Rapid. I would set the team up to win the game. I think Stevie Gerrard will do that. You've got to take time to actually see how the opposition is going to play. I'm not saying you lie off them and let them dictate the game. I'm fully on board with trying to go for it. But as you've mentioned there, I alluded to, I mean, Spanish football is arguably the best standard of football in European football. So, and even though that Villarreal are currently lying 16th in La Liga and they've got a goal difference of -1, which would suggest that they're struggling to score and keep goals out of the other end. I would go for it. I think there's an opportunity there. It's a final group match at home. I hope that the fans can generate a real atmosphere. I know that the Rapid game, a lot of fans thought it was a magic atmosphere, and it was a great atmosphere. But I'd like to think that the 12th man, being the Rangers support, can take it up a couple of notches for this one and get the lads motivated. I'm sure Stevie and Gary and Michael and Tom will have the lads fired up. I think the players will be fired up themselves, and I just hope that we can get an early goal and hopefully build on that and basically kind of set the tempo and not let them breathe. If we give them time in the ball, you've seen Villarreal already this season. They're technically very adept. They'll knock the ball about. Santi Cazorla, they'll look to get him in the ball and he'll run into that inside forward position and trying to play wee neat balls through to Gerard Moreno if he's playing. So I think it's all about setting the tempo and hopefully getting an early goal and we can build on that.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the atmosphere there. I have to say, maybe it's just because it's been so long since I had a night like that, but especially towards the end, when Tav's goal went in and it was so exciting towards the end. I thought the Rapid Vienna game, the atmosphere was really good. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a Leeds United, you know what I mean? I've had a few really big nights at Ibrox that, really stick in the mind. Parma is another one, the place was just rocking that night. But I think because we hadn't had those nights for a while, it was really good. I actually felt that the Spartak game was a bit flat. I felt the atmosphere went quite flat, quite early on. And I would agree with you that on Thursday night that we, even when, because there are going to be periods in the game when you're thinking, oh, this isn't looking good. Just keep going and keep plugging away and keep getting behind them and keep generating that noise, because I do think it makes a difference. I do think it lifts players over the line sometimes. When games are nick and tuck, as you say, the 12th man can have that, a sort of a major impact on the game.
No doubt. If the fans can help and suck the ball into the net, Colin.
I know. Voting for the Brummy. What I was meaning there was, to your point, the atmosphere towards the end of the Rapid game was excellent. But I'm meaning about maybe the fans start chanting, singing, maybe a good 20 minutes, quarter an hour before the kick-off, and really
get it bouncing so that the players can hear it in the changing rooms, and they're thinking we're going to a cauldron here. And I'm sure that the fans will play their part, but I just hope that there's maybe just a wee spark of electricity in the ground, and the guys and girls travelling into the ground on Thursday night, that we can really set the tone and get it going and really show Villarreal what we're all about, basically.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to say this is going to be the best team that's come to Ibrox so far this season. So technically speaking, it's the biggest game at home so far. So yeah, I would hope that the supporters turn it up a notch, and as I said, I'm really looking forward to it. It's just going to be one of those nights, I think. Pete, key players, who do you think might have a big impact on the night?
The first name on the team sheet, and you're probably going to think Morelos, but no, McGregor. I think I don't see Villarreal not getting chances, so I think McGregor's got to be on top for him, and normally he is, so I'm not worried about that really. No, the second one is Morelos. He's a so important player for us. And I just said that Middleton, I would play Middleton, but then I'm thinking now what I said about getting in behind defenders, and Candeias and Tavernier together, they're really good at getting in behind defenders. So I might go for that one and put Gersnet played really good for Albania on the left wing, and he turned Patterson left and right. Patterson didn't know which way he was going, so that's another option. But I would certainly pick my team anyway to try and get in amongst the defence. The only thing with having Middleton in the team is his corners and his free kicks pinpoint and really, really dangerous. He had a good few balls at the weekend that are just put in perfectly to the right place. I think even just from open play, he put one in yesterday that we had about 3 or 4 shots at goal after it, just because it had so much panic. So I think they're the key ones, and I think Ryan Jack supporting the back four, I think will be a big game for him as well.
I agree with Middleton. I think Middleton's not quite been as dynamic recently. At the start of the season, he was really getting past players. I'm thinking of the away game at Villarreal, the away leg. When he set up Lafferty, he just played a brilliant pass down for Barisic. He in the early games, he was really going past players and causing problems. I think now he's more, as you say, pinpointing stuff. So he's standing 3 or 4 yards off players and just delivering really good balls. But I'd really like to see him sort of attacking players again, because I just think that's fell away from his game recently. I would probably start Middleton, because Tav's set pieces recently have been pretty poor, and I think that could be quite an important part of the game, for sending in good quality deliveries at corner kicks and free kicks. And as I say, Tav, the Spartak Moscow game, it was horrific. And there's been a couple of games since then, and it's just not really been up to scratch. Whereas I think Middleton's caused a wee bit more problems. So yeah, I would probably agree with you on that. Morelos as well. Yeah, I would agree that he's got a big part to play on the night. David, coming back to you again. No, it's a really tight group. There's only 2 points separate all 4 teams in the group. We can't qualify on Thursday, but if we lose to Villarreal and Spartak win, then we can exit the tournament. So is this a must-win game, or do you think a draw could still give us a chance going into the last game?
Obviously, a draw. If we get a draw, it's obviously, it depends on the other result. It's hard to put your finger on it, because you've got to factor a bit of realism into the equation. We are where we are. We've kind of overachieved as a squad this season in terms of Europa League. But when you look at the 2 games against Spartak, I would argue that was 5 points chipped away, Colin. If we had a wee bit more belief in taking our chances at Ibrox, I think we would have beaten Spartak. Even allowing for the fact that they kind of played well and contained us in a sense.
I thought the real opportunity was over in Moscow.
Well, I was just coming to that. I mean, to lose 4 goals away from home you can't expect to be doing anything in Europe if you're shitting that amount of goals. Obviously, circumstances went against us when Alfie had a perfectly good goal chopped off, which would have changed the complexion of the game. But to get back to answering your question, the kind of the old school Rangers fan in me says, we should be going to win the game. It's at home. We've more or less got a full complement of players to choose from. I'm going to slightly disagree with you guys. I think Eris Gresda might play for the start. I think this could be a game for him to show what he's all about. As Stevie's mentioned, he's basically completed his pre-season training, and you're now seeing a fully fit Eris Gresda. So he's got a wee bit more experience than Glenn Middleton. I think Glenn Middleton might be the super sub on the night. I like to think that Eros might have a wee bit more dribbling ability up his sleeve in terms of taking a defender on and cutting inside. So I hope I'm right in that respect. Although if Glenn plays, I hope he does well, and I'm sure he will, because he's certainly a goal threat, if nothing else, as he proved over in Moscow. Is it a must-win game? I would say it is, Colin. If we want to make sure that we've got a chance to get through the last 32 going into the final game in Vienna, then I would say we've got to win on Thursday night.
I think I would agree. I just worry going away from home in the last group game. You know what I mean? I just think, especially after the Spartak game, the way it went. I mean, you're saying if you concede 4 goals, it's a shocker. I think if you score 3 and don't come away with any kind of result, that shows you how bad it is. If I was a striker that night in Moscow, I'd have come off that park livid. You've went away from home, a fairly tricky place. You've scored 3 goals and a perfectly good one chopped off and came away with nothing. I just thought it was a real opportunity, which now I agree. I think this game, if we want to have realistic possibility of getting through to the knockout stages, then I think we need to win it. Pete, I know you've watched from afar. You're over in Germany. Thursday could be the last European home match this season. If that is the case, even although you've watched it from afar, how much have you enjoyed seeing Rangers back in that arena again? Because I have to say it's been a bit of a highlight for me. I've loved it, probably because I've been able to take my boy to his first sort of European games, and he's loved them. But I didn't realise how much I missed these nights until that night at Rapid Vienna. You know what I mean? When they weren't there, when we were doing the third division and the second division and all that, I was kind of like, oh well, no European nights, just get on with it. But that night against Rapid, I thought, no, I must admit I've missed these nights. So how good is it to see Rangers back there?
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. There's one word really goes for me, and that's pride. Really proud that Rangers have got back into Europe and have done so well in Europe. And when I'm walking in the street here, a lot of the talk now is not about the Dutch teams that are not even in the Europa League. They don't think they had a team left, although they've got 2 Champions League teams still in. But they're coming up to me and talking about Rangers, and no, I really enjoy that. But as you say, I'm seeing it from afar. I think David's more been in amongst the supporters at Ibrox. I think my heart would be pumping a lot more if I was in amongst the support, because that really is, it's a dream for me to come back home and see that in a European game.
What about yourself, David? Have you enjoyed seeing these nights back at Ibrox?
It goes without saying, Colin. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm like yourself. I'm not that I ever took European football for granted when we were when we had a squad internationals, but I just think that the whole thing, we've got. I mean, I'm probably boring people now by mentioning this. We've got guys in charge that know what they're doing. They might not have the biggest transfer kitty to work from, and obviously they can't put a crack side together overnight in the space of one transfer window. But as I say, we've got guys in there that know what they're doing. They've got tactics to succeed in Europe. I think you've seen glimpses of that in the 3 games, or certainly the 4 games. You've seen there's been elements of a playing formation and a playing style which works in European arenas. Obviously, there's been a number of individual errors that have maybe contributed to us not getting what our play merited. But to be back in Europe, to be walking away for Ibrox having won and the other ticket and their group having lost, it brings back to what football, traditionally was all about. And I echo Pete's sentiments. I've been proud of the team and the management, and they've put us back in the map. I just hope that they can go one stage further. And it might in the long run be detrimental to our league challenge. I hope that's not the case, but you know me, Colin, I want to go into every single game that we play and play to win. So hopefully we can get out of this group and capitalise on the good early work that we did and not fall flat or come up short and bow out at this stage. I just hope that we can go on our way to back here.
Right, moving on again. We'll just do a wee general roundup. Obviously, I mentioned earlier on that we've kind of been off air for a couple of weeks. There was an international break, but we had some technical issues here at Gersnet, which we couldn't get around, and therefore couldn't bring a podcast to you for the Motherwell game. So there's been a couple of things happened here and there that we thought we would talk about. One is this ticket controversy. Peter Law said at the Celtic AGM last week that he might not accept the 800 tickets from Rangers for the upcoming Old Firm game due to safety concerns. Which, anyway, I don't even want to get too much into it. Pete, I'll come to you first in this one. Now, given some of the stuff that's happened at Celtic Park in recent years, the last Old Firm game when Rangers only received 800 tickets, there was a serious crush outside the ground at the Celtic end. Several fans were injured, taken to hospital, all that. Matt McGlone, celebrity Celtic fan, tried to sue Celtic for bursting his seed at Celtic Park. And 3 or 4 years ago, there was an incident where a Scotland fan actually died at Celtic Park on the night of the Scotland-Ireland game. He fell down over a barrier or something like that. And that family are also trying to sue Celtic, on the basis of safety at their ground. Now, given all that stuff that's happened at Celtic Park and the sort of safety record that Celtic Park has, when Peter Law quotes safety concerns, he's taking a piss, isn't he, really?
Well, I saw photos on Twitter, I think it was, and it was Celtic supporters getting crushed. And I think, was there not 5 supporters crushed quite recently in a game? So I don't know. As far as I can remember, I can't really remember any issues at Rangers. I mean, Hearts and Hibs bring quite a large support with them as well. And I've never heard of them complain about any safety issues. So it's obviously Wall's just making speeches to try and get round other topics that are sort of going round his club just now. And obviously, I believe it was at the AGM he came away with this. So he's obviously got a handful of topics at the AGM that he's not sort of wanting to push. So he's pushing things like this. But the only thing I can think that a safety issue might be, and the last time I was back at Ibrox, I was actually surprised myself to see the Kilmarnock supporters getting released, and they were marched along past Ibrox, past the Sandy Jardine stand, I think it was, and down past the subway crowd and round by the Loudon's bar. And I was really quite surprised to see them taking that route. And whether that would be a good route to take the Celtic supporters, I don't know, because if there's 800 of them and a lot of Rangers supporters standing there, and I'm not thinking that the Celtic supporters might not be safe, I think the Rangers supporters might not be safe. So that's my sort of opinion on it.
Can't really disagree with much what you said there in terms of, I don't think it would be a good idea marching Celtic fans, past the sort of Govan stand in Copeland Road, past the Loudon bar and stuff like that. I don't think that would be a good idea. In terms of, the safety aspect, 800 Rangers fans went to Celtic Park. I know there was some issues, but I think overall it went as well as it could possibly go. I agree with you. I think there are other things at play here. David, I'll bring you in this. Now, we've got this ticket controversy. Their new Christmas advert. Have you seen the bulk-inducing Christmas advert that they've brought out? They've also released this, this self-commissioned report suggesting that Celtic are vital to the Scottish economy. Now, the timing of these things seems a bit suspect to me. Is this just the usual sort of PR stuff to cover up the real story that's come out of Celtic Park recently?
In my opinion, yes. It's just yet another instance of the PR machine swinging into action. That Fraser Allender Institute report claiming that Celtic are more vital to the Scottish economy than golf, I think there was people in the kind of administrative side of Scottish golf took exception to that.
And produced evidence to back it up, to be fair to them.
Well, it's all very well saying that, but if you're commissioning a report, I mean
the golf people, they produced figures that proved that Celtic are more important to the Scottish economy.
Of course. Aye, sorry, I misunderstood you there. Aye, I mean that just shows you how contrived the whole thing is. I mean, for them to even come out with that, I mean, it just shows you the levels that they'll stoop to. I think they clearly see everybody as a mark, that they're going to swallow this nonsense that, Celtic are vital to the Scottish economy. I dare say that they do generate income. How vital that is to the country's economy, I'm not too sure. I'm
just seeing a figure there produced from Graham, our sound guy. He's produced some figures here. 165 million Celtic said in that report. The golf is worth 1.1 billion. So I thought golf is an economic driver in terms of tourism in this country. So for them to come away with that, it just shows you. But the point I was trying to make was that if you're commissioning a report, it doesn't matter who's writing it. You're paying for said report, so you're going to influence what's contained in the report. The big thing with regards to that story that I take exception to, Colin, is that the cynicism of that was there for all to see, and yet no one, and I mean no one, to the best of my knowledge, within the Scottish media, saw fit to write an opinion piece or whatever, or maybe they're asked for their comments on maybe a current affairs show in the evening TV slots, if they were discussing that topic, to actually call them out and say, that's just, it's total cynicism to deflect away from other stories which have been in the press recently, which, because of certain legal ramifications have disappeared at the public eye. So, you're suggesting there it's totally contrived. It's usual deflection tactics instigated by the Celtic PR machine, and to be quite frank, you wouldn't expect anything less. If they weren't responding in the way that they're doing, the more curious amongst us would be wondering what are they up to? How come they're not reverting to type? So it's just typical law and typical Celtic. But I think they can revert to type, David, because as you pointed out, they're allowed to do it. No one really calls them out on it, and I just found the whole thing a bit odd. I mean, I know it's not odd for Rangers to be one of the main topics at Celtic AGM, but surely the time to raise any safety concerns around having 800 tickets at Ibrox instead of the normal 7,000 or whatever it is when this decision was made. But that wasn't the message that came out of Celtic Park at the time. The message that came out of Celtic was, this is, it diminishes the fixture, it diminishes the spectacle, it's this, it's that. There was no mention of safety concerns. So, yeah, I found that quite a convenient route to go down, considering some of the traffic that that's floating about Celtic Park at the moment. And like you, I found it a bit distasteful.
No, it's barefaced cheek, Colin. Yeah. You say there, to get back to the safety concerns. I mean, he's got some neck on him. you think about it, there's been issues at their place. The place is falling apart. I mean, there's ducting held up with Enso tape in that top tier of the old Rangers end, the Janesfield Street end, and he's coming away with safety concerns over the building, and you know, then as Pete's saying there, the cops. I mean, what are the cops hoping to gain from marching Kilmarnock fans in the route that he just described there? I mean, are Kilmarnock buses parked on the city side of Ibrox as opposed to the Govan side? I would have thought Kilmarnock buses would have been parked in Brimlin Road.
Yeah. If
there was any, you know, we would know that there'd be a heck of a lot of Kilmarnock buses. I mean, so, the whole thing, you're looking at it and I wouldn't expect anything less. It's the way these people operate, and if people choose to swallow it, that's the big thing for me. You know, they seem to have carte blanche. There doesn't seem to be anyone willing to stand up to them. I don't know what the reasons behind that are, but you know, the dignified silence. You mean it's probably, you know, in many respects the correct thing to do and the correct way to operate, but in some instances you need to call out behaviour that appeals to the lowest common denominator. You've got to call it out.
I think sometimes the thing that annoys me about Celtic is they're just not prepared to hold their hands up every now and again and go, actually, aye. You know what I mean? And to me, that's what they should have done with the issue that's sort of floating about. But in terms of Peter Lawwell's neck, I know why he's got so much neck. It's because he stole James Forrest's.
Yeah. The thing is as well, though, they've got people in the media to push their agenda through. I mean, the papers, nearly every journalist won't attack them. I think there's only about one journalist that's ever sort of attacked them. They've got that all tied up.
I think in terms of the issue we're talking about, there's only one, in my opinion, that's met it head on, and that's the guy who instigated the whole thing, which is Mark Daly. Outside of him, I don't see anyone who's really picked this issue up and went with it. And when you consider the one thing I was wondering at one point is where's the boy Alex Thompson? You know, when Rangers were going through the whole tax business, he was doorstepping Ibrox. He was there every single day. You know, calling us this and calling us that. You know, and the nature of the story that's sort of coming out of Celtic at the moment. To me, somebody like Alex Thompson would say, well, that's given my interest in Scottish football, apparently, you know, that's a story of some interest to me, but he's not been anywhere near it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't like going on about it too much because it's not the best of subjects, but there is something in how Celtic have handled their PR recently that seems to me that it's just pure deflection, but, you know, it is what it is.
We need real journalists, Colin. We need the Boston Globe spotlight team. They could do the business where that's concerned.
Yeah, well, it's we need something, that's for sure. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll get away from that. We'll have a wee look at the football again. Obviously, we discussed earlier on that, you know, December's going to be quite a tricky month for Rangers. We've got Hearts at Tynecastle next week, although Hearts have took a wee slip recently and probably more confident going into that than maybe I would have been 3-4 weeks ago. Celtic are obviously on League Cup final duty. If we win, we're top of the league, which, you know, if you'd offered me that at the start of the season, come December, you go top of the league, still in Europe, I'd be delighted with that. Fixtures in December also include Aberdeen at home, Hibs at home and away, St Johnstone away, and Celtic at home. David, this feels like a vital month for me. How does it feel for you?
I concur wholeheartedly, Colin. It's a vital period of the season for us. We've obviously got to go to Tynecastle next weekend. That's a must win. If you want to win titles, you've got to go to Tynecastle and win. Then we've got Aberdeen at home on a Wednesday. A chance to get one back in them for the League Cup semi-defeat. We've got to take maximum points there. Then we've got games at Dens. And then I think we're at home to Hamilton before we tackle Hibs. So, yeah, those fixtures that you've outlined, they're all going to be tricky. Hibs have had a wee dip in form there of late. They've slipped into the mid-table. They dropped 2 points at home against Dundee on Saturday. Didn't look that clever at the back. from what I saw the highlights. So yeah, we've got a number of points to play for there, and if we can amass close to maximum return on those fixtures, then I think we'll be in with a shout going into the winter break. And if that can run in parallel with hopefully getting into the last 32 of Europe, that would represent an excellent first half of the season in my book.
Oh, absolutely. I would agree with that. Pete, after these fixtures in December, which as David's pointed out, they look quite tricky, and if we come out of them relatively unscathed, you would hope we're in a good position. Then the winter break, and then we've got Killie away and Livingston away. Now I know Livi again have took a wee dip recently, but Killie's still going pretty well. Is the title challenge officially on? If we come through December and then those 2 games in January, on the first day of February, if we're still in the hunt round about then, is the title challenge officially on, do you think?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to add to the point David made, is that Hibs are obviously, it doesn't matter what form they're in. When Rangers come to town, it's a game of 90 minutes. Form really goes out the window after that. To answer your question, obviously, if we can stay in front, and it would be great to beat Celtic, that would really put us in the driving seat. But even if we can get to the top of the league on Sunday, is it we're playing?
Yeah.
Then it's going to put pressure on Celtic. It's a pressure that they were thinking at this time they would probably be 5, 6, 7 points in front, but then they'll find themselves points behind, and it'll be 1 point behind. So it puts a pressure on them, and even though they've got a game in hand, they've still got to win that game in hand, and it puts a pressure on them to do that. As I say, the games against Killie away and Livingston away, unfortunately, it's on the dreaded plastic pitches. So hopefully we've sort of learned from that, and we can put in a better performance now, especially against Livingston, because that was. Although I'm not going to go back into whether these pitches should be allowed or not, because I think I've covered that one in a.
We done them well against Kilmarnock in the League Cup over there, so that gives you a wee bit of hope. And obviously, come that time, we might have done some business in the January window, so we might have been strengthened a wee bit. So, yeah, I think if we get through the next 6 weeks relatively unscathed, then it's probably the first time in a number of years we've been on the back nine of a season, so to speak. Still, in the hunt, and as you say, I don't think Celtic have been asked that question. Certainly Brendan Rodgers' Celtic has not been asked that question over the last few years, and it's then how they react. They might up the game and might deal with it, but they might not. So I think the next 6 weeks, I think they could be pretty vital. On the January transfer window, how are the 2 years feeling? Mark Allen sort of suggested that Rangers are going to prioritise an attacking option in January. Steven Gerrard's been on record saying he wants a natural number 10. I have to think I agree with that. What about yourselves? What do you think the priorities are in January to bring new faces in? Well,
I think we need probably 2 players, in my opinion. I think, we certainly need, Lafferty just doesn't do it for me. I know he's not had a lot of game time, but even his first time at Rangers, he didn't really do it for me. So I wasn't really wanting him to come back. I said at the time I would rather have Naismith than Lafferty. But so I really think we need a second striker that can, if Morelos, God forbid, does get injured, that we need somebody to fill in there. And I also think we need a midfielder that can control a game, because Ejaria, he's great at sometimes, but other times, the likes of the second half and against Livingston, he just disappeared. He just wasn't. And even on these good games, I know a lot of people were really crazy on him, but I just think he twists and he turns so much that all the speed is out in attack, He just once he gets the ball, he just turns and turns and turns.
Yeah, I do think he can release it. I think he could release it a wee bit sooner at times, I must admit.
I don't think he's had that many assists. I think he scored one goal and had maybe 1 or 2 assists. So for all the games, all the minutes he's had, he's not really proven. And he is an attacking midfielder, so he's not really a proven to be giving us what is on the paper.
What about yourself, David? Where do you think Rangers should prioritise in January?
I largely echo you guys' sentiments. As I've been on record on the pod before, I see a major issue in creating chances. You saw on Saturday there wasn't a heck of a lot created. Kyle Lafferty was feeding in scraps. Glenn Middleton, I mean, he's a young lad. We can't expect him to the finished article, but he can, going forward, he possibly could be a one-trick pony when it comes to being a winger. He's not got. He's direct. He likes to take guys on, but he's not a dribbler. His game's based on pace. Obviously, Eris Grezda, we've yet to see the best of Eros, and Daniel Candeias. He can be a wee bit hit and miss when it comes to actually creating chances. So obviously they've identified that that a bona fide number 10 could be the answer to solve some of their attacking ills, if you like. I totally agree with what Pete's mentioned there about Alfie. We need backup for Alfie. I would concur with Pete saying there. I think we need a genuine midfielder that can control a game. We've got some good players. Ryan Jack's a good player. I still think there's more to come from him. I think Lassana Koulibaly, he's not been quite the same player since he came back from his injury, which could lead fans down the road of thinking, well, maybe that's why Angers let him go out on loan. Ovi Ajaria, as Pete's mentioned there, he's in some games going forward, you could level a criticism at him about flattering to deceive. He does sometimes put too much work on the ball, and he can hold up attacks and it doesn't release it quickly enough. But you could say that for a lot of the players. I still think he's a good footballer. I don't think that he's necessarily been played in his best position. I think we've seen, maybe not so much in the last couple of games, but maybe over the last 6 weeks or so, Scott Arfield, Lassana Koulibaly and Ovi, they've been rotating in the middle of the park. I don't know whether that was tactical. That's what I could see anyway. So I think Ovi's better suited to that kind of number 10 or in the hole role, if you like. Whether he's got the necessary tools to perform at a level that we would require, again, that's open to debate. He's obviously still a young lad. He's not played a lot of first-team football. But I would like to see them get a genuine quality midfielder, a midfield general, if you like. I don't think Ryan Jack, as good as Ryan Jack is and as good as he could be in the future, a lot of people saying that, is Ryan Jack good enough to start to play for Rangers? And even though he puts on solid performances, there's just something lacking for Ryan's game. I don't think he's quite got the overall game to control a midfield. Although I'm not saying that he has done it in instances, but he can't do it consistently, and that's what you need at Rangers. You need somebody that's going to take the game to the scruff of the neck, and I think that could be another area where they could possibly do some business in. But the managers came out and said that there's going to be a good chance that there'll not be a lot of activity in the transfer window. So maybe their budget has got them hamstrung, and the availability of players will mean that there'll not be a lot of movement. But hopefully maybe that's just a red herring that they're throwing out to agents and clubs that they're maybe not going to be as active in the market that they actually might end up being. So we'll need to wait and see, I guess.
There's a couple of names doing the rounds. I'll run them past both of yous and you just give me a yes or no. Stephen Davis?
Yes from me.
Pete?
On loan.
I prefer a young Stephen Davis. I don't really like going down this road of buying old players back just because what they've done. No. So for me, no. I would rather we went out and bought a young Stevie Davis.
So you'll obviously no go for the next name then, Charlie Adams. So I know for you then.
Oh, definitely. Can I just say that the likes of Ajax, they went out and they went to Willem II last year, and they bought that guy. What's he called in the middle of the park? And they're talking now that he's worth about 80 million euros. And that was just a guy who was hardly noticed in the Willem II team. So I would prefer we went out and got that kind of players. Another Morelos. I mean, these players they are there. We've just got to find them.
Yeah, it's high risk though doing that, isn't it? You know, you take. I think Celtic have had a wee bit of luck in some of that, but they've also had a huge amount of boys that they've brought in that, you know, just haven't, you know, done the business. But you don't hear about them. They focus on the ones that, you know, your Van Dijks and all the rest of them. They focus on the ones that do work, but there's quite a lot that Celtic bring in that don't. So I think that's a hit and miss strategy. What about you, David? Charlie Adam?
I'm probably going to surprise a few people here. I would bring Charlie Adam back, assuming that he's fit and you're going to get half a season out of him. I would bring Charlie Adam back. He'll have experience. He's got tremendous passing range, a dead ball expert. I think he'd have something to prove. I think that Charlie would be hyper motivated to win the league with Rangers, because he didn't do it when he was on our books before. He wasn't in the team as much. He may well have picked up a medal, but he wasn't a permanent fixture in the team, if you like. So I think if he was to come up the road and play and help fire us towards a 55th title, I think that could possibly be a good move. But I wouldn't sign him permanently, Colin. It would need to be on loan. So 2 on loans and 2 no's for Pete. Talk about Solanke. There was talk of him in the summer there for the, you know, up front. David, yes or no? In a word, yes.
Pete?
In a word, I don't know him enough. I've never seen him playing, so I can't really give an answer on him. I don't know.
That's why I love you, Pete.
Yeah, sorry.
Right, moving on to the final part of the show, which is Sefco of the week. I believe you've got one for us, Pete. What you got? Yeah,
there was last week. It was before the Kilmarnock game for the Chris Boyd testimonial. The youth player at Rangers, Andy Dallas, was playing, and the Celtic supporters thought that it was Andy Dallas, the referee, and on Twitter they put, just like his old man, staunch to the core. This would not happen in any other country in the world. Only Scotland lets referees that support a team officiate their games. So as an optimist, I hope you break your leg. And then he goes on to say a few words that I won't repeat.
Are they of a sectarian nature, Pete?
They're of a very sectarian nature, yeah.
Oh, see, I thought they didn't do sectarianism, but there we go. We go. Just shows you.
Yeah, and then at the end up it says, who's the ref? Willie. And that word again, that sectarian word. And then Young at the end of it. So I really thought that was really good.
Is it rhyming slang? Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right.
Rhymes with none.
A blue none at that. Right, thanks for joining us here on the Gersnet Weekly Podcast. That's all we've got time for this week. A big thanks to David Fraser and David Thomason for their contributions. Excellent stuff as always. A big thanks also to our sound engineer Graham, who's had a horrific couple of weeks. I think he bought his audio gear for a guy down the barras wearing green and white hoops. So he's learned a lesson and bought some decent gear. So hopefully the podcast will continue uninterrupted from here on in. There'll be a podcast out next week. Obviously, we've got the Villarreal game coming up on Thursday, Hearts game on Sunday. So there'll be a pod out following those 2 games, covering those. In the meantime, get yourself onto the Gersnet website and the forums at www.gersnet.co.uk. Lots of great stuff on there. Match previews, articles, you name it. And of course, there's the forums, just lots of Rangers fans talking about Rangers, which, you know, at the end of the day, what else do you want? So until the next time, I will see you again, and thanks for joining us.